Welcome back to this Moneycontrol live stream. You're watching Closing Bell with me, Nandita, Khemka. Well, from a wobbly Wednesday, we went straight to a wonderful Wednesday. Given the fact that we've seen a very strong recovery from the opening lows. In fact, the Nifty is clocking a 150 point up move. We have cleared the 26,000 mark quite smartly. Let's hope that we manage to end above this level as well, just like we did on Monday. But yes, Midcap index also off lows. The Bank Nifty deserves mention. It managed to hit a fresh record high today as well. Yesterday was of course a day of breather, but day before yesterday we had the Nifty Bank Index clearing the 59,000 mark, and today it's well above that 59,200 mark as well, and did manage to hit a fresh high. But the only point that's not really a positive one is the fact that the breadth of the market is still on the negative side. It is even Stevens, but it is skewed in favor of decline. So that's the only sore point as of now. All the sectors barring the real estate index are trading in the green, but it's the IT pack that's sprinting hard today, higher by about 3% or thereabouts, and that's ahead of Nvidia numbers that come out later in the night. Lots to discuss today. We'll talk about the individual names in just a bit, but let me introduce our first guest on the show first, Mayuresh Joshi, Director Research, Marketsmith India. Good thing, Mayuresh, that even though we, fell below the 25,900 mark, we saw the dip being bought into. 26,000 has been cleared, and of course 26,100, that's the key resistance zone that technical analysts have been pointing out. So if we clear the 26,100 mark, what are the chances that we could hit a fresh high next week itself?
Highly possible, Nandita. Afternoon to you. And I think the two factors that is basically acting as a premise for the market's optimism is based on the rationale that the Trump tariff resolutions might actually happen sooner than later. And if that probably happens, where the market buzz is actually lower than the perceived rates that are being displayed right now, I think the markets will take that with both hands. To complement that, I think earnings have been pretty resilient. And now I think the consensus earnings call, Nandita, from an FY27 exit perspective, seems to be earnings growth between 14 to 15%. So I think if you peg that earnings growth happening over the next couple of years, and then probably look at valuations, the valuations then don't seem very expensive as we speak. With both these factors at play, does that also mean or imply or signify that FIs, FPIs will start coming back to the Indian markets, which have largely underperformed the global markets? I think that is where the optimism stems from.
Sure. All right, and of course, a lot hinges on Nvidia numbers as well, right? Because
Yes.
a lot of people have been talking about India being an anti-AI play. If that's true, then if numbers disappoint from Nvidia, who knows? We can see FIs coming back pretty soon. But we'll talk about that in just a bit. Let's talk about the big newsmaker at the current juncture, that's Saman Capital, that's faced some kind of heat from Supreme Court, right? Because the Apex Court has ordered the CBI to file an FIR in the case against the company. In fact, the court has questioned the friendly approach by the CBI and the MCA in investigating allegations against the company. What does this development mean, Mayuresh? The company had just got foreign capital from IHC. The stock has been doing well as well for the last 2-3 months. We've seen a 30% rally play out. Could this prove to be a big overhang in the near future on the stock?
Oh, absolutely. I think any such developments which take place create a big overhang onto the stock. And therefore, I think anything which has to do with compliances, regulatory actions, central government actions, court actions in this case, will basically imply that unless we receive absolute amount of clarity in terms of what the court is probably seeking or what is expected to come out from this entire scenario, I think it does create a huge headwind for the stock under consideration. Yes, all positive news was getting displayed as far as Samman Capital was concerned. But obviously, I think all these all news flow like these obviously act as impediments in terms of how the pricing of the stock will.
Sure, we'll be keeping an eye out on this one for any more developments in the case. But let's talk about IT. What a momentum in the IT index today, up in excess of 3%. We have the Infosys buyback date also coming through. But the big Q, Nvidia numbers will be coming out today. What are you really watching out for? And What do you think about the AI bubble fears that are gripping global markets? Do you think that is justified?
So I think obviously our global market desk covers Nvidia, and therefore I think their take is that it should be a steady show as far as numbers are concerned. The commentary has been extremely encouraging from Nvidia when it probably comes to newer technologies and
Hmm.
the AI generated chips that they're probably also looking at in the near future is something to be looked out for as well. So I think the kind of innovations that Nvidia is probably doing in the entire landscape. And the kind of urgent changes they're probably bringing about as technology evolves. I think obviously this is one stock within the sphere to probably look at. Obviously, it does have a bearing in terms of how AI as a theme will probably get played out. And again, it brings us largely to that point that a large part of our IT universe is probably not geared towards the AI ecosystem. Obviously, we are
Hmm.
outsourcers, and therefore, I think the traditional model is something that can come under the lens. It's already come under the lens. And as new platforms are getting developed, better AI agents are getting developed, you're probably seeing more agentic AI tools being deployed. I think how the traditional IT sector will perform, it has to evolve, Nandita. I think that was also my take last time round. And that too very, very aggressively, because I think you're already behind the time curve. I think if you fall behind the time and cost curve, I think to recoup large part of the
Hmm.
market as other competitors probably built up better capabilities. Might then start turning out to be a little bit difficult as we head over the next few years.
Hmm, that's true. But what do you make of the move on the Nifty IT index today? We also had the Nifty Bank index hitting fresh highs. Do you think these two sectors could emerge as leaders going forward once we cross all-time highs, or if we see a fresh leg of rally after the India-US deal comes through?
So banks have a decent weightage on the index, and therefore I think if a large part of the move has
Hmm.
to happen because of all the factors at play acting as tailwinds on the macro front, obviously banks will lend a support to the overall market as a whole. Obviously, I think the earnings for most banks, whether it's large private banks, mid-sized private banks, and a large part of the PSU banking universe as well, have delivered very strong set of numbers. And again, commentaries are pointing out to a better second half with advances growth expected to improve, deposits expected to remain resilient. And therefore, I think the NIM compression, CASA compression should largely be
Hmm.
behind us, with a large part of the banking ecosystem actually providing for a large part of the SMA1, SMA2 restructured book expected delinquencies. I think the banking system is well equipped with asset quality pressures not being so evident and the worst in terms of a few of these parameters actually being behind us. Therefore, selective leadership banks should
Hmm.
continue doing well. For IT, again, as I said, large cap IT might probably just lag. Mid cap IT has delivered as far as Q2 is concerned. On a valuation stack
Hmm.
up, obviously mid cap is expensive compared to large cap at this point of time. But with commentaries, pricing, expectations in terms of they being more agile as far as AI models are concerned, my own sense is that the outperformance that midcap IT has done and delivered so far might actually continue. You're heading into a second half, Nandita, for
Hmm.
IT as a pack, which
Okay.
is generally supposed to be seasonally weak. It's a seasonally
Hmm.
weak quarter Q3 with Christmas and furlongs, and Q4, which is
Hmm.
expected to be a client decision-making quarter. So I think how this evolves has to be seen, but mid-cap IT
Hmm.
clearly might continue outperforming large cap IT.
All right, placing your bets on mid-cap IT. A last question then, what about themes like textiles, chemicals that of course came under severe pressure after the announcement of tariffs, right? Now that market could be working with 15 to 20%, anywhere between 15 to 20% in tariffs. So is it time to relook at these themes, the likes of textiles, chemicals, all these export-oriented ones?
So textiles, gem jewelries, shrimp companies have actually borne the brunt. And again, I think if this comes down to the range of 15,
Hmm.
20%, as we've all been hearing in the markets, I think the kind of underperformance specifically for all these three areas should then start coming back very, very strongly. Obviously, I think with 15, 20%, India will remain very, very competitive to our peers, so whether it's Bangladesh, whether it's Pakistan, and China in the textile space. And therefore, I think with a lot of textile companies which are well diversified in terms of product mix, which are integrated in terms of their processes as well, I think if the tariff announcements come true in the proportion that one talks about, there can be a strong comeback, specifically for the textile stocks. Shrimp makers have actually seen some respite in prices. And again, there has been some positive news flow.
Mm.
Australia has probably just revoked its ban, and therefore there is a new market which was closed for Indian shrimp makers, which has opened up. What happens with the EU trade deal might also open up markets for them. And if the tariffs are reverted back, my own
Mm.
sense is that the kind of hit that one really expected shrimp makers, again, competing with players and countries like Ecuador as an example, I think they should come back to mean as well. So I think once those announcements are done and dusted with, I'll not be surprised if you probably see a huge reversal happening in both textile and shrimp makers, as well as exporting gem and jewelry stocks.
Mm, okay, that's the view on some of these export-oriented themes. With that, Mayuresh would like to thank you for taking out time and joining in this afternoon. Always a pleasure, and I look forward to our next conversation sometime soon as well.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure to be on your show, Nandita, and absolutely looking forward to the next one.
Thank you. Well, that was Mayuresh Joshi with his take on the market, sectors to watch for, and of course the big newsmaker of the hour, Samman Capital. But let's take a look at what the markets are doing. As I mentioned at the start, we've gone from being a wobbly Wednesday to a wonderful Wednesday because it is a triple-digit move on the index, and we have cleared that 26,000 mark. 26,060. I think we are almost at the high point of the day at the current juncture. 150 point up move, 26,060. All eyes on the 26,100 mark. You know, that was or that is being pegged as a crucial resistance level for the Nifty. If that gets cleared, 26,200, and then of course the next pit stop would be 26,277. That of course happens to be the lifetime high on the index. But in terms of the Nifty Bank Index, we've already cleared another or toppled another fresh high there. Just want to see what the all-time high level on the Nifty Bank Index is. It's 59,264. So yes, a cool 330 point, 340 point up move on the index as of now as well. Very close to those all-time highs as of now as we speak. So yes, the Nifty Bank Index was also on the back foot in the earlier part of the session, but did well to recover very, very smartly from the day's low. In fact, of course, hitting fresh highs. But let's take stock of some of the other sectors then. IT, as I mentioned, it is sprinting away. This sector is up somewhere around 3%. Infosys buyback date has been announced November 20. That's when the buyback opens, and it continues through till November 26. HCL Tech is the top mover on the Nifty IT index, followed by a Coforge and Persistent. All three counters have gained in excess of 4%. You also have LTI Mindtree, Infosys itself gaining anywhere between 3 to 4%, and on the other hand you have Wipro, Emphasis. All these are also clocking in gains of 2% or thereabout. In terms of individual movers then on the Nifty, of course, Max Healthcare, that's another counter that's sprinted ahead of all these IT names that I mentioned. So that's the top Nifty gainer at the current juncture, 4.5% higher for Max Healthcare. All the other gainers, 4 other gainers are from the IT pack. Then you have Titan, that's also up 1.5%. HUL, the business ice cream business demerger date is out. That stock is also up 1.5%. Some of the other gainers are the likes of Sun Pharma, Eicher Motors, Nestle, Apollo Hospital, ONGC, etc. What's not doing well? Tata Motors Passenger Vehicles resumes its downward drive, so it's down 3%. Coal India, Maruti, Hindalco, Bajaj Finance and Adani Ports are among the other laggards. But on that note, bring on board our technical guest for today, Ashish Bahety, Technical and Derivative Research Analyst, ProfitMart Securities, joining in. A good reversal from the day's lows. Ashish, we've cleared 26,060 as well, and looks like we are poised to end above the 26,000 mark once again. Do you expect 26,100 to get cleared easily, or do you think that still remains the resistance level for the index?
Good afternoon. Yes, I see this is the fourth attempt actually probably Nifty for the Nifty to surpass its 26,100 mark. And technically, we usually assume the third or the fourth attempt is usually the strongest. So we are very hopeful that Nifty will surpass its 26,100 and even may make fresh highs. Nifty is well poised to head to 26,400 zone. See, Nifty IT was the only lagging factor where it was not contributing, and the way Nifty IT moved today, And the way Nifty is probably is in a presumption that the deal is very true or it's very near around the corner, is propelling the Nifty fresh, making it fresh high. And along with that, the Bank Nifty is supporting. So that is a very plus added advantage for the Nifty. So we are hopeful that Nifty may, in the coming weeks, we may see Nifty heading to 26,400 mark. Anybody who's long should remain long. Just trail the SL to 25,590. 25,900, sorry.
Okay, got that. But let's talk about the charts of the Saman Capital. There's been some regulatory heat there. The stock is tumbled 10%. It has done well in the last 2-3 months. We've seen the stock rally somewhere around 35% or so. But with today's down move, do you see some bit of a breakdown happening on the charts? How are you looking at that move? It's news based, but
Certainly.
nevertheless.
Yes, certainly. I mean, this is a complete reversal candle for the stock, and its stock has broken its almost 4 week lows in this one single day move. So anybody who's holding long should exit this stock. I mean, may even on the downside, it may even touch 145 zone. So there's clearly a pressure visible here. Anybody who's holding short should enjoy the ride.
Okay, that's the view on a Saman Capital. But another newsmaker was KC International. The stock is almost down 10%. It received a letter from Power Grid on Tuesday, which informed the company that the company has been excluded from participating in the tenders and from receiving contract awards for the next 9 months. 9% sharp move, above the 700 level as of now. But what are you thinking? How is the chart really poised? Because if you look at the long-term charts as well, 6-month, YTD as well, the stock is down 40%. How are you looking at today's crash on the stock? How should one approach this?
Yeah. So since stock already is trading below 200 daily exponential moving average, and there was a good selling pressure on the stock even before this today's 10% down move. This stock was continuously in pressure, and today's down move, along with the volume, if you see the volume, is a close to 7.5 million share volume has already been traded in NSE. So we are hoping that there will be a good delivery volume in today's trade. So stock may even touch 670 odd levels in coming weeks.
Okay. That's about KC International. But let's talk about some of the stocks that are doing well as well. The likes of Hero MotoCorp, it's got its second upgrade this week. Earlier it was Morgan Stanley that upgraded the stock. Today JP Morgan has also upgraded it to overweight, and the target price has been raised to 6,850, which implies an almost 20% upside from where it is. The stock hit a fresh high today, 52-week high today at 5916 or so. How much of more of an upside do you see? Could it clear that 6,000 mark pretty soon now?
Yes, certainly. Almost all the auto stocks are looking good, and specifically in the two-wheeler space, TVS, Hero, and Bajaj, all three are showing good buying interest. Even the Eicher Motors is also looking good on the charts. So we are very hopeful, and we are very bullish on these stocks. We are hoping the stock may surpass 5,950 zone pretty soon. We're expecting another 70 to 80 rupees point move. So by tomorrow or day after tomorrow in the stock. Then strong support area which has become for the stock is 5,800.
Support is 5,800, but in a day or two it could also clear 6,000 on the upside. Even the auto ancillary names are doing pretty well today. The likes of Samvardhana and Sona BLW. Which of these charts are looking more exciting now? On a 6-month basis, I think both the stocks have given negative returns, but they've done well. After that, last 1 month or so, I think even last 2-3 months they have done fairly well. Which one do you prefer?
See, both of them. In fact, Sona BLW has been our buying recommendation since yesterday. Almost as a BTST call, it was there, and even today morning we have recommended in some of the media channels the stock. Both the stocks are looking very good on the charts, and we have that auto ancillaries, which have some significant exposure related US markets, may even outperform the overall market at this point of time. So Sona BLW is certainly looking very good. One can even buy at this trajectory by keeping a stop loss of 500. On the upside, we are hopeful that stock may even move up to 530 to 540 levels.
Okay, that's about some of these auto ancillary names. There's buy recommendation on both of them. But Ashish, before we come to other stocks, want to understand if you have any BTST strategies for our viewers.
So on the long side, I think all the IT stocks are looking good, specifically the Midcap IT. So one can go long in Persistent, or the other stock which is looking good is I'll say like Tata Elxsi. So both are looking good on the charts. By keeping a stop loss of uh, 5,300, one can go long in Tata Elxsi for the next probable target of 5,500.
Okay, Tata Elxsi, and of course one more IT stock. That's what a BTST idea is coming in from Ashish. But Ashish, real estate stocks have been looking wobbly and they aren't participating even today. How are you approaching this space? Do you like anything at all from the real estate basket?
So there's a pressure in the whole space, and even this market where we have seen a good recovery and Nifty surpassing again 26,000. There's not much of the recovery except I think except of the Lodha, all the stocks are trading in red. So one should avoid. In fact, if there's a slightest correction in Nifty, one can use the stock as a good shorting opportunity. Uh, Probably DLF is looking significantly weak on the charts, and we're expecting that DLF to touch 720 odd level. So, yeah.
Okay, got it. Let's talk about some of the volume buzzers as well today. Avanti Feeds, that's been one breakout stock. If you look at the last 1 month or so, it's up 20% today, marks fifth straight day of gains. The stock has risen almost 15% in the last 5 sessions itself, and I think it's also trading above all key moving averages. Would you be looking to ride this momentum, because the stock did come under a fair bit of pressure, especially amid all this tariff turmoil?
On the charts is looking good, but it's not advisable to chase it right now because in the today's trading session, stock is already up by 9.5%. And if there's any negative news, we may see absolute turnaround, and the stock may move in south from here. So anybody who's holding long should remain long and just trail the SL to 800 zone, but don't chase this particular stock right now.
Okay, not advisable to chase the rally in and Avanti Feeds as well. But I also want to get in your thoughts on Avari Energies. This stock has been under pressure. If you look at the last month or so, the charts are suggesting that it did move, 11% down since end of October to now. There's been some news flow. Some IT officials had visited the premises. I think that's why the stock is under pressure today. But any levels that you will be mindful of on the charts of Avari Energies, and what should one do with the stock?
See, today's low has become a significant level because there's a good recovery from today's low. Stock was almost down 7% in the morning session, and if you'll see now, it's down only 2.5%. So there's a good recovery from the lowest point, that is 3,075. So 3,100 becomes a good area where I'll say there was a buying interest in today's chart. If you'll see the order flow also, so from 3,100 we have seen there's a continuously buying orders coming in this particular chart. So 3,100 becomes a good support area. So if anybody has bought today, should keep a stop loss of 3,100. We're expecting the bounce back because the recovery is being very sharp in intraday session today. So we're expecting the stock to move again back to 3280 levels.
Okay, that's one worry. But there's another stock that's buzzing today, and that's 361 VAM. There's been some brokerage upgrade. I think Citi has upgraded the stock. The stock did come under pressure, but it has done well to recover from lows in the last month or so. Is this sustainable, the up move that we are seeing now?
This entire space is looking good, not just 360 man, but entire capital market stocks are looking very good on the charts, and there's a continuously buying interest in these stocks. So we are hopeful that 361 can even move to 1200 plus levels soon. So one can keep a stop loss of 1090 and can expect 1200 plus mark soon in this chart.
Okay, the entire space of course is looking good, including 361 VAM. There's another counter that really caught my eye at the current juncture, that's GMDC. The stock has been under consistent selling pressure in the last 1 month. How would you trade into this? It's quoting at 515 or so at the current juncture.
Yeah, so most of the mineral and metal stocks did pretty well the month of October or early November. But now there's some profit taking in these stocks, and we believe that anybody who's holding long should book some profit here. If anybody is, don't try to bottom fishing, do the bottom fishing in the stock right now. There's a support certainly in near the 480 to 490 zone. So we expect the stock may slide up to that level in coming trading sessions.
Titan has managed to hit an all-time high today. It's up. It's cleared that 3930 mark. That's what it's trading at. 3940. That's what it has cleared on an intraday basis. How do you approach Titan within the jewelry makers? Do you think it's worthwhile to buy at this rate? In terms of risk reward, would you be comfortable?
Yes, it looks a little stretched out charts, but if anybody's have a horizon of a little long term, I'll say 2 to 3 quarters, Titan is looking good on the charts. It's definitely clear blue sky trajectory. So there's no resistance area now for the stock. Certainly on the downside, the support which is now established is near 3850 on the short term. So we're expecting the stock to surpass 4050 mark in coming 2 to 3 weeks.
Sure. Taking your point, but let's take stock of how the markets have shut shop. Just hold that thought. Ashish will come back and talk about more stocks. But we've ended above that 26,000 mark for a second consecutive, time this week. Not consecutive, second time this week, so to say. Monday we closed above 26,000, and today, of course, almost at the high point of the day, 26,051. So we've done well to recover from opening lows. In fact, I think it's the 4th or 5th day that we've been outperforming our global peers. Last night we saw the Dow plunging another 500 points. Nasdaq was under severe pressure. In the wake of bubble fears when it comes to AI, and today of course we have all important numbers from Nvidia later tonight, and that will be the one watch point for global markets, for Indian markets, for all the markets globally. So before that, European markets have stabilized. Asian markets also traded mixed today, but Wall Street was under severe pressure. So that's one major cue, and we've managed to outperform quite smartly at a time when global markets are fairly mixed to weakish. So yes, that's one good point, but the only sore point is the fact that the advanced decline ratio is still skewed towards declines. The advanced decline ratio was 1:1, but it favored declines, 1323 advances to 1600 declines on the NSE. So that's the only sore point, but obviously it was the benchmarks that outperformed the market today, but even mid-caps did fairly well to recover from opening lows. Bank Nifty deserves mention, another record close here, 59,200. We've ended above that crucial level. IT was leading from the front, over 3% uptick on the IT index. PSU banks also gained somewhere around 1.5%. You had autos also edging back into the green, and some slim gains for the likes of pharma and FMCG also, but it's only the real estate and energy basket that kind of stayed out or stayed out of the rally. In terms of the gainers on the index, we had Max Healthcare and some of the IT names, HCL Tech, Infosys, Wipro, TCS. These are among the top gainers. HUL on the back of the demerger date that was announced yesterday. That stock was up 1.5%. Titan all-time highs today, ending higher by 1.5%. Eicher Motors up 1%. Nestle, SBI as well. I think SBI also managed to hit a lifetime high. So that stock is also in focus. Apollo Hospital, Tech Mahindra, ONGC. These are some of the other winners in trade. On the flip side, Tata Motors passenger vehicles continues to skid, almost 3% cut there. Coal India down 1.5%. Maruti Suzuki was also down, and some of the paint names were also down. In fact, Asian paints, consumption names rather, Bajaj Auto, Trent, ITC, all of them on the back foot. Just want to take a moment and see what some of the mid-cap movers were looking like today. So on the Nifty 500, in terms of gainers, you had Jayaprakash Power that was up 15%. L&T Tech, Linde India up 7%, Latent View, Intellect Design, Endurance Tech, all these stocks up in excess of 5%. What was the big laggard there? Saman Capital, of course, on the back of the SC News, 13% down on that stock. KC International, again news based, down 9%. GMDC down 5%. Fight India, Inox India as well down 4-5%. Any thoughts on Inox India? This stock is under pressure today. How would you approach this?
Yeah. So I think stock is down 4% in the today's trading session. But if you see the intraday chart, there was a good recovery on this stock. Stock did move. In fact, it touched 1120 on the lower time frames, but stock was able to close above 1150, which is a crucial support area. So we are hopeful that stock may see some rebound, and there was a overdone of the selling in reaction today, probably because of the news flows. So we're expecting some technical bounce back from this zone to 1200 plus area.
Okay, that's the view on Inox India. But a couple of more names that have hit all-time highs today. MCX and Bharti Airtel. What would you be doing with these two stocks?
Both, specifically Bharti Airtel is looking extremely strong on the charts. Every dip is getting used as a buying opportunity, and stock is continuously making higher highs and fresh highs in almost every week. It is making a fresh highs. So anybody who's holding long should remain long. Any dip can be used as a buying opportunity here. Perfect high pedigree portfolio stock. So the support area which has been established now on the charts is 2100. On the upside, we are hopeful the stock may even move up to 2300.
Okay, got your point. But let's discuss Tata Motors PV as well. Stock has continued its downward move today. Top Nifty laggard. Last 5 sessions, it has already lost 10%. Do you spot a floor on the charts, or would you see some more downside before you call about it?
There's no pressure on both Tata Motors, both the companies, CP and passenger vehicles. And I think one should stay cautious or should not try to buy the dip here. Let the price settle down both the stocks. There are a lot of issues with reference to the demand and the JLR for Tata Motors BV segment. So I think stock may even touch 350 odd levels. So it's an avoid category stock for us right now.
Tata Motors passenger vehicles as well. Anything that you like from the Adani group of stocks? Some of them didn't do all that well, but there was news flow that Rajiv Jain's GQG has, picked up stake in a block deal. Which of the stocks do you like on the charts? Adani Enterprises, Adani Ports, Adani Power, anything that's a preference?
So yes, I think there was more of an internal transfer between the GQG group on these stock. But I think out of the Adani total pack, the stock which is looking good on the charts is certainly Adani Port. Its stock is holding above, well above its 10 daily exponential moving average, and even today's downfall stock took the support there. So Adani Port is looking good. The stock has a good base near 1470 odd level. We're hopeful that stock may even move in coming sessions back to 1500 plus area.
Okay, got your point. Adani Ports looking attractive on the charts. But before I let you go, Ashish, we spoke about your BTST ideas, but for a longer time frame, any recommendations?
So we are hopeful for both. I mean, on Tata Elxsi as persistent. So Midcap IT is one space which has been fairly underperforming the market. And the way most of these stocks move in trading session, it is looking as if something is brewing here. Some maybe very soon there will be announcement on some trade deal which street is anticipating. So one can chase this moment. The risk reward looks very favorable here. So Tata Elxsi and persistent remains our long term as well as short term pick.
Okay, got your point. Thank you. On that note, Ashish, for taking our time and joining in. Always a pleasure, and I look forward to our next chat as well. Thanks a lot and have a great evening. Well then, on that note, of course, my colleague Yatin is sitting right here next to me. Yatin, turned out to be a good recovery. From a wobbly Wednesday, we went to a wonderful Wednesday.
That is exactly, what I was checking. The advance decline ratio in the morning was almost, 2:3, two stocks advancing for every 3 declining, but it improved end of the day. Thanks to the IT pack, I think we made significant gains on the market, and in the last 1 hour of trade, the Nifty bank also recovered. So overall, IT and banking stocks, I think, made a move which led to the market rally today. So whatever losses we made yesterday were covered in trade today.
And of course, we ended almost at the high point of the day, 26,050 also. In fact, the Nifty bank index hitting a fresh record high and ending also at a record high of 59,200. But IT pack, of course, took the cake today. 3% up move on that index, the likes of HCL Tech, TCS, Infosys, even mid-cap names are fairly buoyant. But I think the last hour of trade, we saw that news flow coming in on Sammaan Capital took a very, very sharp knock, ended lower by 13%. Even KEC International news-based moved 10% down. And also I want to point out that for the new listings, it wasn't such a great day.
Correct.
Right? Yesterday, in a weak market, we saw all the stocks flying away. But today, I think all these new listings ended lower by 5, 6 to 8%. Also, including the likes of Physics Wala, and Grow also saw its first decline ever since it listed. But you were mentioning breadth. Any other mid-cap stocks that you were?
Let's talk about Sammaan Capital. That stock moved low by nearly 13.5% because the Supreme Court said that the money laundering cases which are pending against Indiabul Housing, which was erstwhile the name of Sammaan Capital now. We have the stock panic in trade because the Supreme Court ordered an FIR. So the CBI will now examine the case and file a FIR, which is the first information report, and this is the reason why the stock was panicky in trade today, almost 14% down intraday, and one of the top FNO losers. We also have KEC International, which accelerated the fall. The stock was down 10% despite the management clarification that the power grid ban on the company from participating in the tenders for 9 months will not impact them much. Currently, nearly 15% of their order comes in from power grid. So, yes, KEC International, another stock which was down almost 9-10% in trade.
Okay, those were the newsmakers. News-based moves on the stock prices, sharp knocks on both the counters. But let's talk about the stocks that are on our radar, Yatin. LG Electronics India, the recent listing that was in focus today, the stock was up 3.5% or thereabouts because Morgan Stanley has initiated coverage on this particular stock with an overweight rating, and the target price here is 1864, which implies a potential upside of 15%. The stock is, I think, trading below its listing price right now. But they are seeing, good earnings.
So listing price in the sense it's IPO price was I think around 1100, 1200.
No, 1710.
So 1710 was the open price on the listing day. So it's below that price.
So it's below that listing price, not the IPO price. So yes, but of course 1864, that's the target that has been pegged by Morgan Stanley. In fact, they've taken note of the fact that the company stands out in a highly competitive consumer durables market. In fact, it has the industry leading margins as well and strong capital efficiency. It has forecasted a 9% year-on-year drop in earnings in FY26, but thereafter, it sees good double-digit earnings CAGR between FY26 and FY28. Of course, the 9% downtick that it has, predicted for FY26, it's on the back of weakness in the AC segment. All the AC makers are struggling because of prolonged monsoon and of course the inventory issues in terms of the GST rejig. But of course, recovery, as experts say, could only kick in from FY27. Although the company itself says that the GST rejig and the BEE norms that kick in January, all those factors would actually prove to be positive, given the fact that the increase in cost due to BEE will be offset by the the cut in GST slabs, GST rates. So yes, that would prove to be good, and that's why they won't be passing on the extra cost to consumers, which is why they expect sales to pick up going forward. The management recently also said that it does expect business momentum to pick up, improve in the coming quarters. In fact, it is looking to improve its market share as well. It has already improved it, and it's looking to improve it further. And post the GST cut, the affordability of product and consumer sentiment has improved substantially. They also believe that they can return to their earlier pace of expansion and give double-digit consistent performance going forward. In fact, if you look at what Morgan Stanley says, it says that it is valuing the company at 50 times 1 year forward earnings. And the new manufacturing capacity and higher export contribution and growth in its B2B business, these are some of the factors that would drive the company's revenue and margins going forward as well. So yes, all in all, a good 15% double-digit uptick predicted by Morgan Stanley. That's their target price, 1864. The stock was up somewhere around 3.5% today.
Absolutely, and we also have Deepak Fertilizers that also saw initiating coverage report. Apart from LG, that also stock saw initial move of nearly 2%. MK has a target of 2,000 rupees in its latest buy report on the counter. And if you look at Deepak Fertilizer, it is one of the leaders in India when it comes to explosive chemicals, which is triammonium nitrite. Largely, TAN is used in construction as well as making tunnels as well as an explosive for mineral extraction or mining work. This is one capex that Deepak Fertilizer has done, which will probably start yielding results in a few quarters from now. Not only that, the gas supplies which start for their fertilizer unit as well as for their overall chemical expansion, that will reduce costs significantly in the coming quarters. They have already had a tie-up with GAIL and other PSU gas providers. As a raw material, gas is cheaper as well as is on the less pollution side. So this is one stock which is on the brokerage radar, especially when you talk about the company's profile from a commodity chemical player stroke fertilizer player. Now it is entering into specialty chemicals and products, which will probably be margin accretive and also would benefit the overall valuation multiples.
Okay, that's about Deepak Fertilizer. The stock was up and about in trade. But as we wrap for the day, the big Q today will, and everyone, all the global markets will be watching out for Nvidia earnings.
Correct.
That will be coming out post market hours in the US as well.
Yes.
And of course in after hours, but we will of course be reacting to it tomorrow morning. Last quarter the company had managed to meet expectations, but this quarter there are a lot of questions with regards to whether or not there's an AI bubble. There's been a whole lot of spending when it comes to AI. A lot of capex has already taken place. Now there are worries about when will those investments be monetized.
Yeah.
Right. So these are some of the concerns, and which is why we have seen global markets correcting quite a bit, because the bulk of the weight is from some of these names like Nvidia and the Magnificent Seven, which have all been under pressure due to the AI bubble fears. In fact, days before earnings, we had 3 large investors, exiting Nvidia, Peter Thiel and Michael Burry and SoftBank as well. So that has led to exacerbated fears around bubble. But if you look at Nvidia, I think the crucial point to watch out for will be the fact that the CEO, Jensen Huang, had said that the company has $500 billion in orders for 2025 and 2026. If there's some color that's provided on that front, then perhaps that would cool some of the frayed nerves. Also, the fact that guidance, even if the numbers meet expectations, what kind of guidance they give, that will be crucial, because that will give us a sense as to how the demand is and how things will pan out going forward, which is something that would calm frayed nerves also. But aside of that, the stock has got hammered down. It has fallen 15% almost from its highs. In fact, even valuations have dropped. 29 valuations have dropped to 29 times forward earnings, which is below its 10-year average. But of course, let's see how things pan out, because both in terms of revenue and profit, analysts are expecting over 50% growth. Even if it hands that out, I think a lot will depend on commentary and what the management says in terms of guidance. But yes, we have seen quite a bit of a correction in the US market because of that. The texture will depend on what Nvidia really hands out later in the night.
Absolutely, but nothing to worry about Indian markets. Nvidia earnings, doesn't mean anything for Indian markets. Probably can bring in some panic for the US markets if the earnings miss expectations or the guidance meets, or probably is slightly lower than expectations. But yes, Nvidia, the kind of frenzy it has created in investor minds and the kind of expectation that people have, probably would see a big reaction either ways. So watch out for this big number in the US markets, but nothing to worry home. Probably we are nearing that trade deal. I think markets are more worried about the Indo-US trade deal with Russian oil shipments dropping significantly. Plus the kind of LPG deal that we saw yesterday, which was announced by the oil marketing companies, wherein they will procure more gas from the US markets, is indicating that a trade deal would be quite near, probably just before Christmas, or who knows, probably next week.
Yeah, probably next week. Of course, if that could lead to a Santa rally, then of course nothing like it. But with that, we've come to the end of this edition of Closing Bell. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Stay tuned to Money Control for all your other news and updates, and we'll see you with the markets tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.